Hi, I'm Megan, and this is my tutoring portfolio. So I worked with Trey. He's a 10-year-old boy. He's currently in 4th grade, and he's the youngest of 3. He loves football, basketball, and really anything that's being active and outside. He has a very outgoing personality. Likes to tell people about how his day was and what happened and tell all these stories. So yeah, that's a little background about Trey. So first we did the language sample. I would say he's very good at expressing himself. He used a lot of complex sentences. I did notice, however, he didn't use very much academic language unless he was encouraged to do so. So when I asked him what his favorite subject in school was, and if he could elaborate on it, that's when I noticed some more academic language coming into play. He used proper expression and pausing throughout the entire thing. I noticed this more during the spontaneous sample, and I think that was because when I was asking him the questions, he felt like he needed to be a little bit more cautious and think about what he was saying. So yeah, that led to a little bit more pausing and whatnot. For the motivation survey, I gave him the elementary attitude survey. This is the Garfield survey. At first, I thought he was pretty excited about what he was reading, but it turned out his results resulted in indifferent. As you can see, his recreational reading score was 23, excuse me, which put him at the percentile rank of 14. And academically, he was in the 26th percentile, and overall, he was still only in the 26th percentile, which surprised me because he seemed to be really into the book that he was reading. So for the writing sample, he wrote about a basketball game that he had went to the night before. He used proper punctuation and sentence structure throughout the entire thing. He wrote 17 words per minute and had 1 spelling error, which is when he used the number 1 to say that to say that the team had won the game. I would say he is a transitional writer because he stayed on topic for most of the time and his thoughts were very well organized. If I had to say one thing he should work on is making new paragraphs, because I think his writing sample could have been split into 2. For the spelling inventory, he got 22 of the 25 words correct, so he's doing pretty well there. 59 of the 62 features. His errors were mostly phonetic based. Basically, he was just spelling out the words and sounding out the words on how he thought they sounded. So confident with a V instead of an F, and civilize with an S instead of a C. So those kind of things. And the results put him in the middle derivational relation stage, which I think is appropriate for his age. For the reading passage, I picked a level 5 passage for him based on the word list that he did. So he read The Octopus. It's about a page long. He read 164 words correct per minute with 2 reading errors. So pretty quick. On the story retell, he recalled 26 of the 54 ideas, so only 48.1% of them. He did, however, get 100% of the explicit and implicit questions correct. I told him that we need to work on slowing down and utilizing prosody and intonation, so expressing himself. 3 course concepts that relate to Trey are fluency, one is fluency, which is reading text with appropriate speed, accuracy, and expression. We focused on his speed and expression. It felt like he was racing through some of the material sometimes, so we had him slow down a little bit, and expression, just make the story interesting for whoever he is reading to. Then we went on to comprehension. As I said, he got the main points down and he understands what's going on in the book, but he's not very good at remembering the smaller details. So something that I recommended is him focusing more on those. And then academic and social language. I noticed he used quite a bit more social language than academic language. Granted, he was mostly talking to me and his family and friends when I was around, so that could change at school, but I decided to do a few activities that expanded his vocabulary and hopefully encouraged him to use some academic language. Which leads to my favorite lesson plan. We played a game called 50-50, and this game focuses on spelling and vocabulary. I'll give you a quick overview on how to play. So you have these word cards, as you can see on the right. So Trey would roll the dice, and then he would pick up a word card these were flipped over, and then he would have to do what the dice says. So if he rolled a 1 or a 2, he would have to add 1 letter to the word to make a new word. If he rolled a 3 or a 4, he would subtract a letter from the word to make a new word. If it was a 5, he would change 1 letter into another letter to make a new word. And if it was a 6, he would rearrange all the letters to make a completely new word. So if he could do what the dice told him to do, he would get 1 point. And if he could put the new word into a sentence and use it correctly, he would get another point. So that was a little fun. Eventually his older sister came and joined in and made some bigger words, so that got him exposed to some new vocabulary. We finished off lesson with him reading a chapter of his book, which is The Maze Runner, and he's really into that these days. So improvement over the sessions, I noticed the greatest improvement in his expression while he was reading. Originally he would read really fast, and he didn't really have time to pay attention to exclamation points and things like that. So now he reads at an appropriate rate, or at least he tries to, with more expression. He seems to be more motivated to read. I think he's really into the book that he's reading right now, so that helps. And he's improved on self-monitoring skills, so he knows when he's reading too quickly and when he needs to slow down a little bit. And I would say he still needs to work on retelling those small details. Overall, I would say that at first it was pretty overwhelming. I didn't really know where to start, but eventually we got the hang of it and got into a regular pattern. I would say it was a great hands-on experience. It's fun to work with a child and actually see their progress, rather than just looking at papers and say, oh yeah, that works. It's fun to actually implement them. So yeah, overall it was just a great experience. Thank you.